She responded, boys, and yeah, it's pretty fucking dog shit. We're gonna talk about it today. We're gonna talk about everything and just all the shit that's happening with the Illuminati, just because of how fucking ass everything is, and how much I hate this fucking YouTuber so fucking much. We're gonna call this corporate casket today. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it, Illuminati? So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about Illuminati and the response that she gave to everybody involved in the big situation that happened. If you don't know what happened, just go back and watch my video about it, or you probably saw like Turkey Tom, you know, Sensitive Society. So many other people have talked about it, so I mean, watch any video you want about it. They'll explain everything. Just to get it out of the way, her response to Legal Eagle is perfectly fine. She just kind of apologizes to him. That was not the point of this video, and the Legal Eagle response is fucking normal, you know, like, oh, I did an oopsie, like, it's whatever. And then the whole plagiarizing thing that she points out to H Bomber Guy, like, technically speaking, I think H Bomber Guy was just trying to call you out for being like a loser. Like, I think that was kind of the point of his video, just basically saying you're a hypocrite. But I mean, yeah, sure, I guess you aren't plagiarizing, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just calling you out as a hypocrite. But to get into the real serious mix, she really talks heavy about Oz, Wander, and the Clique. Now, Oz, she does not talk very bad about. The other two, she fucking dogs on them the entire video. And I want to point this out before I even get started. She just lies. I mean, she like blatantly lies in the video. I'll get into depth about it, but I'll recap the fucking response real quick for you guys. So she starts off with the Clique, right? And she basically just says that everything he said is baloney. The Clique never paid her so that she could pay the editors, which the only evidence she kind of provides in that situation is just one thing where she said, oh, you haven't paid me yet, and he says, I'm sorry, and then pays her. But the biggest one that she likes to diss on is the entire situation when I talked about the Clique's, you know, incident with Discord, and how she kind of used Discord as this space to keep him away from, you know, being able to speak his truth about her, talk about her in a bad way, anything. He kind of had to keep himself on edge. She takes that situation, she completely ignores the allegations put against her, right? And just makes it about how there was a pedophile in his Discord. The argument is one of the worst fucking arguments I've ever fucking seen, Blair. It is fucking dog shit. It has nothing to do with the situation. First of all, he doesn't control the Discord. This was over a Discord mod, right? This had nothing to do with him interacting with the pedophile and accepting him in his community. It had nothing to do with that. It was a Discord mod that was allowing him to be a part of the community, right? And it was kind of like an inside thing type of thing, you know, where the people went to Blair. So not only is she incriminating herself, obviously the people in the Clique's Discord where people run and through her, right? Because they're all going to her about information about the Clique happening in his Discord server, meaning everybody in that server is pretty much just a fan of you shitting on him, clearly. So they all went to Blair to basically be like, oh, there's a pedophile in the goddamn server, you know, oh, this is disgusting. And again, the point is ridiculous because this has nothing to do with the Clique. This has nothing to do with them at all. She even provides the evidence showing that when they went to the Clique about it, he did what he had to do. He got rid of him. I don't understand. The logic in that argument is the worst I've ever seen. She just kind of shifts her focus away from the actual problem at hand. The stuff that he was talking about, incriminates herself, and then just kind of looks like a douchebag because she's flexing that, oh, I don't have pedophiles in my server, but you do. It happens. Like, I hate to say this, but it's Discord. It happens. There are people like that show up. And again, he does not control the Discord. He has mods who control it. And the mod that let him through is gone. They got rid of him. So problem solved. It had nothing to do with the guy in the first fucking place. And the Clique himself even responded to this on Twitter. I'm not gonna read out all of it because he's making a response video. So I'll let him post a video about it himself. I'm not gonna have, I don't want to have to read off the list. He basically just says the same shit as me, is that, you know, I don't control my server and these people were the ones involved. So once I learned about it, I got rid of it. So I don't see the problem. Again, it's fucking stupid. But the biggest one in her entire response video was about Wander. Wander was the big one that she went after the entire video. She basically said some very bad things about Wander. The biggest thing that I want to talk about though is how she brings up his suicide. Why? I personally don't understand why she brought up personal things like suicide. Apparently there was an attempt of suicide on Wander's end. Why would you bring that up? He never brought it up in the first place, and I don't know why she had to bring something like that up in this situation, because in the response video, right, it had no correlation to anything. I think she was just trying to use it as a, look guys, he's not mentally okay. That means I'm right. I don't get the logic there. It's a terrible fucking argument. But the biggest points that she likes to talk about is, I'm gonna list off a few here. So the car incident. So there was an incident with a car where she lended him a car, right? She said that he wouldn't give it back and that she had to forcefully take it away from him, and then the car was in disarray. It was destroyed. It looked terrible. I'll get into that piece. That's gonna be a big piece that I'm gonna talk about. And then another one is the state of the house that she was living in and how it wasn't trashed and oh, he's lying. That's one of them, and how he was basically a freeloader, never paid rent, and did all this, and that. There's a lot in that situation that I'll unfold. And then another one is kind of a mixture between Oz Media and Wander. You know, how she kind of uses Oz Media in this response video as like this side piece. You know, I said this in my original video. He was like a middleman. Oz Media was used as this middleman who was like a yes man to Illuminati until recently, where he was like, I realized that all this shit that Illuminati's done is really bad and I was contributing, and he's apologized like a lot to these people. So, you know, respect to Oz Media for actually like, you know, realizing this type of stuff. But those are going to be my 3 main talking points of the video, mostly because of the response that Wander gave, which is just kind of him proving that all the points that I'm going to talk about right now are just straight up lies and just manipulation from this response video. But let's get started first with the car incident. So basically, as I said before, the car incident is where Blair talks about how she was lending him a car. She wanted the car back. You know, she has the legal right to take the car, stuff like that. She was coming to get it and she took it away from him. And then when she got the car, it was in terrible, you know, situation. It had clothes in it. It just looked bad. You know, the windshield was cracked. And I want to touch on that a little bit because the instant I saw that in her response video, I don't know if you guys saw it either or if it was just me, but if you paid any sort of attention to the response that Wander gave originally, he talked about how he was not in a good living situation and was homeless, meaning where do you think he was living? In the car. He was living in his car where there's going to be clothes in the car. And Wander's response in his Twitlonger, which I forgot to mention this, I'm going to be leaving the Twitlonger and a lot of the evidence that he has in that Twitlonger is in there. You guys can read it for yourself. You know, you guys can look through it, skim through it if you want. He shows ample amounts of proof and evidence that the car in question, he didn't want the car. He did not want it at first. He was not trying to be a freeloader off of her and take stuff from her. She gave him the car. And when he was at his lowest point, living in a fucking car, she came and took the car. Now, the best thing I could say about the cracked windshield is it wasn't that big of a deal. It looked like something probably just hit it, which he showed evidence of him going out of his way to, you know, get the windshield fixed. So it's not like he wasn't trying to get this car fixed. It was basically like a situation where he was trying to get it fixed and she just straight up took it from him. Like, literally, there's a reason why there's clothes and stuff in the car. She just straight up went over, said, give me the car, and left. She can make him look like a terrible person, which I think is pretty obvious here, right? I mean, like I said, it's pretty obvious that he was living in the car at the time since he didn't have a home. He was in a bad situation. I believe he was trying to, you know, figure out shit with his parents, and boom, car's taken away. Another point that she likes to make in her video is that he did not have insurance. He shows proof of insurance. So that's just a straight up lie. The ample amounts of evidence of her just straight up lying about the car incident is crazy to me because he shows all the receipts for the car. And I believe the legal incident that he talks about in his original response has to do with the car, is what I believe. He doesn't go in depth about his legal incident because, again, he's not allowed to really talk about it with her. So there's that. But I believe it has a lot to do with the car, maybe a few other pieces. But that brings me to my next point, which is going to be the freeloading incident or the state of the house. Now, Blair in her response video talks about how the house is not a mess and that he only used one image to make it look like her house is a fucking vile mess, right? She used one picture to describe it, and oh, this picture, you know, this is where we were all unpacking. This isn't even my room. So you're going around taking pictures of a room you're not even supposed to be in. This is where shit gets kind of goofy. So those pictures weren't taken by Wander. He made it very clear that these pictures were taken by Oz Media. Yeah, the guy who was living with you, Illuminati. The guy who was living with you. So you're just lying about how he's taking the pictures. You didn't even think to understand that maybe he wasn't the one who took them. And there's other pictures of everywhere else in the house. It's uncleaned. It looks like a fucking hoarder house. Like, imagine XQC's room, but on fucking crack. It is insanely disgusting. There's even a picture of like a Sonic cup, or it's like a fast food cup with mold in it. You live like a fucking rat, like an actual rat, Illuminati. It is disgusting. This shit is vile. And this isn't even Wander speaking on it. This is your best buddy, Oz, talking about it, taking pictures of the entire house. So you just blatantly lied about the state of your house. I don't even know why you have to lie about that. I mean, you could just straight up be honest and say in your response video, like, yeah, I'm in a bad living situation because of mental problems. You could have easily just said something like that, and I feel like more people would understand that better than you just straight up saying, my house isn't this dirty. I actually have a clean house. This bed frame isn't the correct bed frame. Okay, I don't really care. Another point that she likes to make in her video about the freeloader thing is that he wasn't paying rent. Water makes a very good point that he was living with her because obviously he's an editor for her, and he was down there, up in Colorado with her to, you know, film a lot of IRL stuff with her. So, I mean, there's that. This is a part that I don't really know the full truths of, but at this point, I'm going to believe Oz and Wander over her. But the whole point was basically that Illuminaughtii is trying to get into real estate, and he's not paying rent currently because she's trying to get a house up for him so he could live in that house and he could pay her rent, basically her being his landlord. That was kind of the point, and everything backfired and he went back to Texas. So that one is kind of null and void. I don't really understand the logic and point behind that one. It just doesn't really add up to me. You know, like, why would you just blatantly lie about this source or anything? On top of that, he's your editor. He does a lot of different work for you. I really don't understand the logic behind why he has to pay rent, especially living in that condition of a house. I wouldn't even give you a fucking dime to live in a condition like that. I also want to talk about a brief summary of the animal incident. This one I don't really give a fuck about because there's no evidence for either side. It's just basically a he said, she said situation. All I'm gonna say is that I don't think either of them are bad parents to their, you know, pets. I think it was just kind of a back and forth argument about the pet situation, which, you know what I mean, is just kind of like, okay, who cares? Basically what happened was Illuminaughtii just tried to basically say Wander is a terrible dad to his pet and did this one bad thing to his pet. And then Wander was like, oh yeah, you say that, but I did this with your pet and you neglected them. At the end of the day, I don't think either of them are bad pet parents. I bet you they're both really good with their pets and they don't mistreat their pets. I think it's just probably like, you know, for example, with Wander, he probably just had one incident where he did something that he probably regrets. You know, it's not a big fucking deal. We all do that with our pets where we, you know, for example, you accidentally hit them with something or you accidentally hurt them and you don't mean to do that, right? It was an incident where his dog was left outside in the middle of the night, and it's Colorado. I've lived there before. Backyards in Colorado are fucking huge. I don't think the dog was shitting himself in fear. You know, the outdoors is a normal place for a fucking dog, and Colorado is filled with big, ginormous lawns for pets and dogs to roam around and do whatever the fuck they please. It's not like it's the end of the world that his dog was sitting outside. Like, yeah, sure, he should have been inside, but like I said, he's not a fucking terrible pet parent just because of this one little incident. It's not a big fucking deal. And then going into her pet situation, he talks about how he's the one who had to take care of the pet while she neglected him. Like I said, I think you guys are probably both good pet parents. I'm not gonna fucking argue on this point too much, but like I said, it's such a null argument for both of them. It just doesn't really matter. Now, going into the third talking point with the Oz media situation and how it involves with this. Now, in this response video, she basically just, I swear to God, this is like a manipulation tactic, but she butters up Oz like it is no tomorrow. She says nothing bad about Oz media at all, even gets extremely emotional and brings up her mother's cancer situation, which has nothing to do with this incident. Like, absolutely nothing to do with the talking points here. Like I said, I feel like it's just you grasping at sympathy points. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Why are you grasping at something so fucking stupid? And you are involving Oz as this person that's like, oh, thank you for being there and thank you for always siding with me and being, you know, this right-hand man for me. I swear to God, she is buttering this man up so she can try to grasp at the fact that he might side with her in this incident, but I really don't think Oz will. Like I said, Oz is the one that Wander likes to use in this situation, and I'm not saying he's using him in a bad way. I think he's just using him as leverage because she likes to basically state that Oz didn't like you either type of thing in her response, when it's quite quite obvious that Oz was the one doing the best he could to comfort Wander. He shows a lot of receipts, Oz communicating with Wander, trying to figure things out with him. Even the one that took the, like I said, took the pictures of the house saying this is vile, this is disgusting. Oz was not happy with his situation with iiluminaughtii, and after a while realized that what he was doing and how he was involved was very wrong and bad. He made a lot of apologies over and over again. There's so much evidence of him apologizing, and I just have to say this. I know that I'm not a big YouTuber or anything, but Oz, you don't need to keep apologizing. You are a good person, and I know you're a good person at heart. You were manipulated into a situation that just shouldn't have been in the first place. iiluminaughtii is a terrible person, and iiluminaughtii, most likely in my eyes, seems like she kind of filled your head with bullshit, which is why you became this right-hand man for her. You clearly had to live with her, deal with all this bullshit. She basically incriminates herself by basically saying that he had to be the one to do all of this for her. It's ridiculous. Even in the twit longer, Oz basically talks about how he has to do all this and that for her, and she does absolutely buttfuck nothing. And I feel bad for Oz almost more than Wander, just because he was directly involved living in that situation with her, which is disgusting to say the least. I hate that she put Oz Media in this situation, making him look like a very bad person and quite possibly ruining this man's reputation just for being involved with you. It is ridiculous. So Oz, don't feel the need to apologize. You've already done enough as is to try to help out the right side, and I guarantee you're most likely going to do the best to help out Wander in this situation. But that's the point that I want to get at though with this third incident, is that in her response video, she claims Oz is sticking by her side and is this good person that agrees that Wander is a bad guy, right? But it's quite obvious in these Discord messages in the receipts that Wander and Oz clearly have a distaste for iiluminaughtii, and Oz is clearly starting to see that iiluminaughtii is this manipulative, terrible person. It just doesn't add up. It's lie after lie after lie. These three main incidences that I want to talk about are just evidence of her lying in her response video. And the reason why I say that is because she's trying to manipulate an audience to the point where she can garner enough viewership and enough people to just say, fuck all of you, and so she can continue doing what she wants. This was her tactic. That's my assumption. Her tactic was to just basically garner enough people to hate on these people so they will stop making responses, so they'll give up, right? Or enough people to just basically say, oh, this is enough evidence. iiluminaughtii's in the right. It didn't work, and I'm glad that it didn't work. I'm glad that these guys stood their ground, and I'm glad that they came out with the receipts, because if they didn't, I feel like iiluminaughtii would still be, wandering the streets in this situation. Now, this brings me into the final point of the entire video. Why is this video titled Corporate Casket? Now, if you don't know about her series on her entire channel, it's basically just called Corporate Casket. Whenever she shits on a industry or a corporation for being shitty to, say, their employees, to the people around them, right? Or, people who buy their product, right? The customer. She shits on nearly anybody, right? Everything and everyone shits on any corporation, messages that they're spreading in their videos, messages that they're spreading in their shows, in their games, and hell, anything, right? Shitting on constant corporations. And you're probably asking, what does that have to do with iiluminaughtii? That brings into the biggest hypocrisy and the biggest irony of this fucking video. You are the same thing as them. You do the same exact thing as them because you did this all to fucking Wander while he was your employer. Now, he had to sign an agreement basically saying that he can't shit talk the company or can't shit talk her in general. You can't be a mean person to them. You can't be mean, which is fair. I mean, that's a fair thing to do for a company. Every company typically does that just because, why would you hire somebody who's gonna straight up just shit on you right after? That doesn't make any fucking sense. But the irony and the hypocrisy is that she literally would shit talk Wander, vague tweeting Wander on Twitter, shitting on him, being a horrible person to her own employee. She was the employer and she is shitting on him. Why? There is no reason for you to do that. Live up to your own standards, iiluminaughtii. Actually, and the sheer fact that this man was your employee during all of this situation is just baffling to me. You mistreated your own workers so much. You put him in such such a terrible living situation. You quite literally ruined this man's life for a while. And for what? For this moral high ground? Keep in mind, Illuminati, you don't even do the work on your channel. And I would not be surprised if you're the one that makes the most money out of anybody who runs this fucking dumb ass channel of yours. The editors don't get as much as you. The people who write the script don't get as much as you. You're the only person who does nothing for this fucking channel. You do nothing, yet you feel like you have the need to mistreat people constantly. If that's not corporate greed, then I must be fucking retarded, because clearly you did the same thing with Sad Milk. You did the same thing with everything else. You are a fucking corporate mess. You're this one thing that you swear that you go against. Pyramid schemes, all this dumb bullshit that you preach that you're fighting against. You are that, Illuminati. You are that one thing you go against. So that basically makes every fucking video you've ever made null and void, because you do the same shit. You mistreat your workers. You treat all of the other people around you like trash. You are a horrible person. There is no reason for you to continuously ignore this drama and not acknowledge that you are wrong. Just admit that you are wrong. These guys are coming out with videos about you. I'd imagine that they're not gonna fuck these videos up. I don't imagine these videos are just gonna be fucking dog shit and they're just gonna fuck it up. I'd imagine that these videos are going to just be more proof and evidence that you literally mistreated these people while they were employees of you or just friends working with you. You are a horrible person, and that's why you belong in a fucking corporate casket, you fucking loser. And I really hope that this video came across enough to prove to you guys this. I know this might not be the best video. This was definitely a video I had to rush because of how busy I was with work and everything, but I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed the, the little talk I had about just some of these viewpoints. I am going to be talking about the videos that these guys are going to be coming out with. As I'm recording this, the Click actually made a video like I think 2 or 3 hours ago, and I'm pissed because this video is coming out right when the clips are coming out. So I'm just gonna be kind of making this video talking about her response, uploading this, and then I'm gonna be talking about the responses that the Click and Wander make on Illuminati, because I genuinely want this bitch to just leave YouTube. I don't want people like this around. I hate this stupid moral high ground that some of these YouTubers take of, oh, I hate corporations. Look at me, I'm a big leftist and I hate corporations, I hate companies. And they do the same exact shit that these companies do, if not worse. She is the greedy, money-hungry loser that she so hates. A great example that I hated in her response is that she shits on Wander saying, you have 10K in your bank account. How can you not live? This bitch must not have ever lived a day in her life without money. 10K is a lot of money. I won't argue with that. 10K can't get you an apartment for more than a year. 10K is not enough, especially when the fact that Wander didn't work a big job. He was working as an editor for you, and it's not like he edited a load of videos. It's not like he was editing constantly all the time for you. You made that obvious. You said multiple times that he didn't make that many videos, but then made the claim that he was getting paid good enough to live on his own. Clearly not, because he got paid by video, which he didn't make a lot according to you. So it just doesn't add up. Clearly the guy was going through a situation trying to find something to help him live a good situation, and all you did was put your worker in an even worse situation and then forced him to work his ass off for literally nothing so you could walk away with all this money in the bank and you can throw shit around your house and be a fucking hoarder and a loser. You are a degenerate, and I hope that these videos that keep coming out about you, all these commentators that come at you about this, I hope this haunts you. I hope you actually get help and leave the internet. Stop ignoring the fucking drama and the situations that are happening. Stop trying to debunk shit by just ignoring it. Stop trying to find these little pieces of things to shit on these content creators and try to ruin their careers. You are dragging people down with you, and I know that you're doing that because it makes you feel satisfied inside. You aren't the bad guy, Illuminati. You're the victim. That's what you want us to say. You want all of us to sit here and say that you're the fucking victim of a terrible situation. Now, I don't condone cancel culture. I'm not a cancelist. I don't like canceling. Honest to God, I don't want you to be canceled, Illuminati, but I want you to leave. Just at least take a minute to leave. Maybe even put out a proper response apologizing for everything and just acknowledging that you're a bad person, right? I don't expect you to, do any of this, but it would be very greatly appreciated. But anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in the next few videos. I have a lot coming out, and I do want to get more videos about the Click's response and Wander's response that will be coming out eventually. And I'll see you guys when that happens. Peace.